Wild Whisper design team. This is my little bonus video. Actually, it's not so little. This is a long video, but it's a 2-page layout. So it's well worth the extra time to see how both of these pages come together. So this is video number 2. I actually posted a video yesterday for the design team, and it was this really adorable little project, but it was super kind of quick and easy. And so I thought I should probably give you guys something else, just a bonus dose of Wild Whisper, because although I loved the project yesterday and I definitely recommend you go check it out, it was only like a 6-minute video. So here is some extra bonus Wild Whisper. I don't know if you can hear Arlo purring. Hopefully he is not louder than I am and purring into the microphone. He's literally sitting on my shoulder, kind of snuggled up, being super duper cute, but also being very loud with his purring. So I am pairing this with 2 different sketches to create the 2-page layout. So sketch number 1, which is going to be the left side of the page, is the sketch that Jessica Michaels created for 30 Days of Sketches. She was day 23, which is one of my kiddos' birthdays, and so I thought that would be really fun to do her sketch because it has a giant ice cream cone on it. So it's super festive, super fun. And just, I thought it would be perfect for a birthday. And then I'm pairing it on the other side with my sketch, my March sketch, because I'm releasing a new sketch every month this year. Maybe even going forward. I just really like creating sketches. So, but yeah, this is the one that I did for March, and I hadn't really had a chance to play with it yet. So I thought, if I'm already doing a birthday layout, and this sketch was inspired by the fact that I have 3 kids who have birthdays in March, I might as well pair them together and make this a 2-pager. So I pulled out these pictures of my second youngest, and there just happened to be kind of the right amount of pictures for the 2 pages. I didn't know if I was going to be able to stretch Jessica's into 2 pages. I could have gotten creative and stretched her sketch for sure. But I thought I'm just going to do both of these sketches. Oh, Arlo, leave that alone. What are you doing, Annie? What are you doing? He is trying to snuggle up, but in order to do that, he thinks he has to move the microphone. So I apologize. But yeah, I figured instead of trying to sketch it, I would go ahead and just create with both of these sketches. And then I think they match really well because they're both birthday, they're both festive, and I'm going to use the same collection. So it brings both pages together. Apart from the fact that it's all the same pictures too. So obviously that brings both pages together as well. So I have the Happy Birthday collection from Wild Whisper, and then I also have some bits and pieces of birthday themed papers and products from different manufacturers, just stuff that was in my stash. It's all stuff that was in my How to Kill a Kit with Style kit from the first quarter. So I knew obviously that I had some March birthdays that I wanted to scrapbook, and so I threw in a bunch of birthday stuff into that kit. So I went ahead and pulled all of that out, and then I'm pairing it with what I have left over from the Happy Birthday collection from Wild Whisper. And that one is still in the store. It's brand new. So definitely hop into the store, use my discount code DTGen, and save some money and grab that collection. Wait until you see it. If you haven't watched any of my videos where I've been using it yet, wait until you see how fun and festive and how brightly colored it is. It's a really, really gorgeous collection. So go run to the store, grab it, use the discount code to save some money, maybe throw a little something extra in there because you're saving money, so why not? And yeah, have fun with it. I'm pretty much out of it, so I've used it a lot in the first quarter of this year. All right, so what am I doing? I have some mixed media in my sketch. So I really wanted to make sure that that was on both pieces of paper. And so that's what I did first. I pulled out some oxide inks, kind of matching the Wild Whisper collection colors, and I'm just smushing them down, but I don't want them all to get kind of like muddy, and I don't want the paper to get too wet. So I'm just doing a couple of colors at a time and letting them dry. So in between the smushing and the drying, I'm going to go ahead and do some of the work to get my pictures ready. So for these pictures here, I'm cutting them into the balloon shapes. These are going to be on the left-hand side, which is my sketch. And so I wanted to mat all of these pictures on some paper that would give me those balloon shapes. So you saw me, I cut a little template so that I could kind of get that balloon shape and not, fall victim to eyeballing it. And you know how it goes sometimes when you're trying to cut a specific shape. You start out, then you realize one side's different than the other. So you cut a little off here and you cut a little off there and you trim from the top. And then it doesn't look right and you don't have any picture left. So I gave myself that template, and then I was just, when you saw me holding them up, I was actually just using that, it was like a piece of thin cardboard. I was just using that behind the pictures to create a little bit of a shadow with my overhead light so that I could make sure that my picture was centered and that the shape was covering exactly the area that I wanted before I cut them out. And then I did have a couple pictures that were a little bit larger and then a couple that were a little smaller. So I just cut my template down to fit the size that I needed. So those are all the balloons on one side. They're all matted with some 6x6 papers that I got in one of my sampler packs. So I don't remember the manufacturer. It is not super thick paper. It's actually quite thin, but in the sampler pack, we got quite a bit of it. There were several papers, and I think there was also, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like there was some ephemera or something that went with it. Yes, I'm actually pretty sure that there was some ephemera that went with it. So, we got a lot of it, but I can't remember who the manufacturer was. I apologize for that. And so I pulled those out. They're not quite exactly the same colors as what's in the Wild Whisper papers, but they're close enough, and they're definitely festive birthday colors. So I figured when I kind of combine them all and spread it all across 2 pages, it's all going to look like it's matching because they're all just kind of those fun festive colors, birthday colors. So let the papers dry, did my balloons, pulled the papers back, smushed a little bit more color onto there to get some more color. Now I'm letting that dry, and while that's happening, I am going to create a giant birthday cake. So I knew I probably wasn't going to do an ice cream cone, but I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do instead of the ice cream cone until I saw that piece of paper, which is also part of this same little collection from the sampler pack. But that piece of paper had that journaling spot, which is a birthday cake. And I thought, I'm just going to make a giant birthday cake. And that is what I will put on that left-hand side instead of the ice cream cones. So that's what I'm going to work on here. I just have to use the pieces that are the biggest. So I went with the purple and the green. I didn't want to use the yellow because there's a lot of yellow as kind of that like bright popping contrasting color in the Wild Whisper collection. And so that is actually the color I put in my background the most. I really wanted that to have like a really nice bright pop and contrast against all the other colors that I was using. And so I didn't want to make the largest part of my cake yellow because I felt like it was just going to oversaturate the color. So I went with the purple and then the green. And now here, just to bring in a few more of those colors, I'm going to add these little strips that are kind of like the icing and the little borders on the cakes. So that is the plan. So I will have the red, that kind of navy color and this yellow to kind of give the cake a little bit more interest. And that, I know most of it's going to, well, I shouldn't say most of it. A lot of it is going to get covered up, but that's okay. I feel like you have to make this outright. You have to actually like create the full image and then put your pictures over top of it, because I think you would be able to tell if it hadn't been done outright and you had just made like half a cake or something like that. And then to add a little bit extra fun, I still have this puffy paint that I used at Christmas time, and I thought I'm going to make some frosting with this and just decorate that cake and really drive home that this is a birthday. So just using my good old cake decorating skills from when I had my own cake company, and I am frosting my cake with some little dots and just some little, swirls to kind of make it look like icing. I didn't want it to be too thick because I knew I was putting pictures over top of it, and I also didn't want it to take hours to dry. But I think it was super cute, and it definitely has a different texture to the paper, so you can really tell that it is applied afterwards, and it kind of looks kind of shiny and glossy like icing. So that was really fun. So here is my last layer, I guess you could say, of mixed media colors. So I will give that a good splatter. I tried to make them all a little bit different. So some splatters for the yellow, and then the blue is kind of just, really, really like fine splatters. And then the purple were a bit bigger drops. And then the green is, kind of smushed in some different places. So I tried to move it all around so the colors didn't blend. And I knew I was going to cover up a good chunk of it. So hopefully this just would give me little kind of peaks of each color coming out from behind my images. So I definitely think it was successful on both sides. Obviously my sketch had that already in the sketch, and so I knew that you were going to see quite a bit of the mixed media behind the balloons. But even on this side here, following Jessica's sketch, you still see those fun little pops of color, and it ties the two pages together really well. And how cute is this? I think it's so adorable. So obviously I don't have the same pictures that Jessica has in hers. I have two larger photos, so both of them are 4x6s, but I tried to place them so that it looks very similar to the sketch. I like to, I like to drive home those spots, I guess you could say, where I take the most inspiration. And so just that whole placement and having the large image on the left-hand side, for me, that was the biggest bit of inspiration. And so I really wanted to make sure that you saw a lot of the cake, and that the cake with the pictures are kind of balanced really well in the center and just really kind of pops. And it definitely does. So I just stuck those down, and now I'm going to put my balloons in place. I kind of fuss around a little bit with them, trying to get the exact right placement so you can see the pictures really well, but also can tell that they are like 5 individual balloons, and that they don't kind of look funny or look weird. I could have, and at one point I did think that maybe I was going to add in a whole bunch of other balloons and just really fill this up with different stickers and things like that, that I have in the kit that were all part of the birthday pieces that I had put in the kit. But I decided, no, I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as the photos. If you start to clog that up and make it really, really busy, then the photos kind of lose their place, and it's hard to figure out what each one is, and they have to be the ones that shine. See here, yeah, I even pointed to those balloons and thought, oh, I could add some more. And then on these stickers too, but I decided not to. So I'm putting a lot of this stuff away, as you can see, and just going through some of these pieces and deciding if there's anything that I want to use. I definitely didn't want to make it busier than it should be. So I put quite a bit of it away, but I did like this paper because it matches the Wild Whisper image of the animal balloons. I think that one is an Echo Park paper. And then here are the Wild Whisper papers. So that yellow, obviously yellow was the prominent color for me kind of in that background. And then here on the fussy cutting page, I'm going to take the animal balloons and one of the little cakes. And then I have the cut apart sheet here. I have these fun little animal balloon papers. I'm saving that paper that has the drinks in it, because I'm going to do some sort of fun summary one, I think. And then I'm also saving the one that has the cake pops in it, because I have a couple of pictures of my little guy picking a cake pop because he was potty training and he went the whole 3 days that he was at daycare without any accidents. And so we got him a cake pop. That was what he asked for. So I have some pictures for that. So I'm saving those cake pops. I do have the cards as well. And what else? I have the papers, the fussy cut elements, and the journaling cards and the stamp set. Yeah, I think so. And I've used all of them. So I have videos from the previous month where I used quite a bit of this collection, actually. And so now I get to put all the finishing touches onto my 2 pages. And this is what's really going to tie them all together, is being able to bring the papers across both pages and kind of, have similar elements, because right now they definitely look very different other than the mixed media in the background. So being able to spread out some of those ephemera pieces that I cut from the fussy cut page and these different pattern papers, that's really what's going to bring them together. So on my sketch, I have these little kind of banner pieces as a cluster of layers going across the bottom of the page, where all of the ties for the balloons kind of come together. And so I'm just building that right now. Definitely going with the animal balloon theme here, which I just think it's kind of fun. And I knew I had some enamel stickers that are these animal balloons, so I could bring in some of that. And I knew that I think that birthday collection came with some ephemera that were these animal balloons, but I decided I didn't really need to add any extra stuff, and I still have some more, so I can keep going with the animal balloons. And I have some cut files that are these animal balloons too, so maybe I'll be able to do a layout with that. But I essentially cut those banners the way that I kind of wanted them. And now I want to bring in a little bit of the 6x6 papers. And so I'm going to find a way to add a few of those little bits into the layers as well. And so here, to kind of keep that banner theme going, I'm going to create little banners to make little clusters sort of in the same place where Jessica has her clusters, using all the bits of paper. So they're really teeny tiny bits, but it's nice to be able to use up those scraps, and it definitely gets all of these pattern papers onto this side as well, and kind of roughly in the same place as the sketch. So I feel like I was pretty successful at doing that. And I'm just kind of recreating these little layers that'll be sort of like an embellishment cluster. So I've got the animal balloons and then that yellow. They're not really in the same order as the other page, but I don't need them to be. I just wanted to see all of those little colors and patterns represented on both sides. I also used the blue ink to go around this white paper just to make sure that it stood out a little bit better from the background, because obviously the background is white paper. And there actually you can see a little bit of that cake pop paper, because that is what's on the back of this paper here. So I'm being pretty stingy with that paper because I have a layout in mind for it. And that is that beautiful yellow that definitely is like the bright pop of contrasting color in the Wild Whisper collection. So really fun, really pretty, really can take it from like a birthday paper to just a fun kind of, summer party of any kind paper, because there is the drinks also in this, and, cupcakes and cake pops and that kind of stuff. So you could definitely stretch this into a collection that would work for like a summer picnic or a summer party. It's pretty fun. So here I'm going to do a little bit of that darker blue that's in the what are we going to call it? The 6x6 collection, because I don't know where it's from. Well, I know where I got it from. I don't know who created it. But I want to use a little bit of that darker navy blue. It kind of brings that grounding color in with all of those bright light colors. And then here's a little bit of that green because it's so prominent on the other side, and a little bit of the red because I've got that bright red stripe. And also my son's birthday bag is red, and so it kind of brings some of that red from the left-hand side over to the right-hand side as well. And just having these little pops, it doesn't have to be like a big splash. I feel like they balance each other out because they are much more prominent on the left-hand side, but you just have these little glimpses of them on the right-hand side. And I think that works to kind of create the balance. And then vice versa, on the right-hand side, you have larger pieces of those Wild Whisper papers. And so to balance that out, I've brought smaller pieces of those to the left-hand side. So nothing is overpowering anything else, and everything's kind of represented between the two pages. But if you really didn't want to put these two together in an album, they would read as separate layouts completely. So they will inevitably go together as a two-page layout because the pictures are all from the same event, but things happen. And so if it really didn't work that they could be side by side to be read as a two-page layout, it would work that they are individual pages as well. So I'm just using some extra strong adhesive here on these little balloon animals, just to make sure that they stick down over top of all of those layers. And I'm going to put one. How do I do it? Oh, I think I put two on this left-hand side to bring the balloon imagery over to the cake side of the page, I guess you could say. And then I have a little cake that I fussy cut from the fussy cut sheet to put on the left-hand side. So that cake is also represented on both sides of the page as well. And yeah, I just wanted to make sure, because I am putting it right over top of those layers, that they're going to stick down nice and strong. So that's just that skinny adhesive from Spiegel Mom Scraps. It's just kind of nice and strong, and I can put quite a bit of it on there in those skinny little areas, like the neck of that balloon giraffe. I'm going to say it's a balloon giraffe. So that's what I was using. And then here are those super fun enamel balloon stickers. They're from Dollar Tree, and they're clear, and they're just really, really fun, and they look like balloons. And so I just wanted to use a couple of them because I felt like I have them, I should be using them. And so I put a couple on each page, and that brings a little bit of texture in. And then here I'm going to use some of these foam stickers from Simple Stories. I only have these foam stickers and the chipboard that matches them. I don't have any of the papers that match this collection. But I thought bringing a little bit of foam also kind of brings a different texture and an element of fun. And so I brought some of that into both sides of the page. And then here where I'm supposed to have my title, instead I thought I would put those three little bubbles and kind of make my title just three little bubbles. And I think that's fun. It kind of mimics the shape of the balloons, and they're not perfect circles. They're kind of wonky, so it brings a little bit of whimsy in. And yeah, I just thought it was cute. And then I also have the chipboard, like I said, so I'm going to pop some chipboard in there too. So I added an extra little chipboard cake on this side, and then some chipboard stars, I think. Yeah, some little chipboard stars on this side and a cupcake up at the top. I thought I might use that kind of noisemaker, I guess is what it would be, but I just felt like it was too big. So I'm going to go with the stars and the little cupcake. Where did it go? There it is. I'm just going to pop that right over top of my balloon animal. And I'm okay with having the layers like that because you can definitely see what everything is, and all the colors kind of peek out from around the different elements. So I think it works out good. Oh, and my cake here, my little chipboard cake, is kind of sitting between two pieces of foam. And so I needed to have something in the center of it just to hold it up a little bit. So I'm cutting a piece of the chipboard, which was just the right width to kind of stick it down and give it a little stability in the center of that cake. So these are looking pretty good. Oh, there's a balloon there, and I just wanted to cut that little bit of foam off. It was just making it like three things thick, and it didn't need to be. So yeah, so now we have to bring our balloons all together. So I'm very quickly just going to add some twine. This is just white twine, and I'm using my quick dry adhesive. What's it called now? Tacky glue is actually what it's called now. I'm just kind of drawing the lines on the balloons that are obvious, and then the ones that are tucked in behind, I'm just sort of imagining where that string would come out and kind of meet the rest of them. So I have 5 strings there. And in my sketch, I actually have them pulled down underneath the banner, but I've made that banner section, I think, a little bit wider than in the sketch. So I just left them so it looks like they're all tucked in behind those layers, and tied a little tiny bow to really like nail it home that that's what it is, that they've all been brought together and kind of held together there. And then to finish off my cake, I'm using some of the Robin's Nest dewdrops. I have the ones that are kind of in the fall colors, so they're perfect as little flames on my candles. And I was not going to fussy cut those little flames that were in the picture, so I just cut those off and used the dewdrops to look like flames, and I think it looks so nice. And then of course I added some sequins, because what would a Jen layout be without sequins? And then my sketchy lines around the edges. Ooh, my camera just went blurry there. So I'm gonna add my little sketchy border line. And that's about it. That is my 2 layouts. They came together pretty quick once I got going, but I absolutely adore them. I think they both look just like the sketches. They look really great together, and they were so much fun to make. So that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please click subscribe if you haven't already. Remember to use my discount code. Check out the playlist down below. And until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.